Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the zoo. The minions with me this evening are Tyr,
What up?
Jen,
Hello.
and once again, as it is a Friday, I'm the keeper for this evening, Sanguine. How are both of you doing tonight?
Oh,
I'm good.
shoot. I don't
That's
trust
good to hear.
YouTube.
What?
Oh, I thought I muted it, and then YouTube started. It's like, no, you didn't. I'm like, but I checked.
Oh, you
Bastard.
don't trust YouTube.
Yeah, I don't.
It sounded like you said, I don't trust YouTube.
Oh,
And
Yeah,
then
this
you
is the
said-
fuck. I thought like,
Oh,
wow.
no.
Jen. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I don't trust you either, Jen.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
we heard, I don't trust YouTube. I thought I muted. That makes it
Oh.
worse.
Sorry, no. I thought I muted the stream beforehand because I tried to check for that, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no, I can hear my damn voice. I'm like, YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Likely story.
No, I actually do trust you very much. It's why I ask you these kind of things, because it's not that I assume perfection in certain things, and I don't always understand how cops work. So I'd rather ask that, because if there's some points where it's like, okay, some of it they couldn't have helped, some of
Do
it
you
maybe
wanna
they
give
could have.
Chat context?
Basically. And then like the whole world is kind of a mess at the moment. But
Yeah. You still haven't given chat context about what you're talking about, Jen.
the Montreal thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went live while talking, so
Oh, right. Okay, I'll repeat that.
when
So
I did so how are you guys doing? That was us going live, and then we went
Yep.
back into the previous conversation without letting chat know what the fuck we were talking about.
Yep. So to anyone who don't know, there was a little bit of a shooting in Montreal. Some crazy communists from I think it's Edmonton, but somebody from Alberta who's communist decided to go to Montreal, and they attacked a mosque, not a mosque, Jewish center synagogue. And a cop was shot and he died, and a female cop shot a civilian. I guess he ran towards her, and I don't doubt that she might have just shot him in the moment, but she then kind of ditched the scene and ran kind of in the pathway of where the shooter was. She managed to get out, but like there's a lot of little things that happened there where I was just like, I think a lot of it was a little bit of incompetence, and I feel bad for the police officer. Rest in peace. Thanks for trying to protect people. Sorry to the rabbi who passed. I don't agree with DEI hires. Some women can be tough as nails, but Canada is not really used to the shootouts that we see in like the US. And I suspect that they're not. So we used to do overseas training, or actually share cops with you so that ours would get a little bit more experience in that kind of stuff. Not every city up here needs it. The little towns, they have their own, so like, they deal with stuff. But like for some reason they keep doing this DEI double down theory, and it's like not every woman is able to handle that level of pressure or fear. In all honesty, a lot of it's fear.
And the thing is, it's not everyone is able to handle that level of fear. It's just, I would say that it becomes a problem with, well, not every woman. It's more because of the way that they hire, you end up with more women who wouldn't make the cut otherwise making the cut, and they aren't able to handle it.
That's
They
basically
dumbed
what I
down
think.
the criteria. So
Yeah, if
any
you
problem they can
lowered
hire
the
is
male
gonna-
standard, you would also see a lot of males that don't make the cut. A good example of this was, I've explained to you guys, I used to work as a correctional officer.
Mhm.
There was one guy who everyone knew was going to fuck up and going to fuck up massively, and we were just hoping that he would either be fired or when he fucked up, he wouldn't fuck up in a way that got anyone dead.
Oh
And
man, did he fuck up?
Oh, yeah.
And
He almost caused a riot.
oh fucking hell!
And almost caused a riot single-handedly.
He
Because
still worked.
Oh, no, he got walked and locked.
Mm.
And for people who aren't familiar with that terminology, walked and locked means he got escorted out of the prison. All of his shit was taken. And then he was put on a blacklist.
Womp
And he
womp.
possibly had charges pressed. We don't know that he had charges pressed, but with the way that he fucked up, there's a good chance he had charges pressed. Because what he ended up doing was responded to a medical call, or rather, there was an incident that looked like it might have been a fight. There was a correction that was called out over the radio that it was a medical. The officer, after starting to move towards the incident with a trainee, had turned down his radio, so we didn't hear the update. You don't turn down your radio when you're going to an incident. You keep your radio so that it's loud. He went to the incident. Again, it was a medical incident, not a fight. He immediately sprayed the person having medical complications with chemical, sprayed the guy who was trying to help the guy who was having medical complications with chemical, walked into his own cloud of chemical, blinding himself, heard people start yelling at him from flag because a bunch of offenders just saw an officer seemingly go crazy and just start spraying chemical and then blind himself. So he swings his arm over the railing and chemicals the entire flag.
Oof.
Chemical, for those who aren't familiar with that term, it's OCCS spray. It is pepper spray. Just different pepper spray. So everyone suddenly has spicy air and spicy eyes.
And everyone's probably fucking pissed.
All the offenders are royally pissed and not done fucking up yet. The guy then kind of turns in the direction of the trainee that had followed him, said, "I'm blind, take me to the desk." So before figuring out what was going on, before actually dealing with the medical incident that was happening on that tier, he then had a very confused, very worried preceptee lead him back to the desk. Not done fucking up yet. He gets back to the desk. He's still blind. Offenders are swarming the desk because they just saw officer go completely fucking mental, start spraying everyone. The sergeant and one of the senior officers in that cell hall start talking everyone down. Right as they got everyone to kind of calm down, the fuck up surges to his feet, starts screaming at everyone around the flag, "Back the fuck up or I will body bag all of you. I fucking hate the censorship that we have to do."
I shouldn't laugh.
Okay.
Which immediately takes the freshly calmed down offenders straight back up to apoplectic. It ends with the officer having to be walked out of the cell hall by the canine units, not one, 2 canine units, in order to actually make it out of the cell hall in one piece.
Man, you really fucked up.
Yep. And then he lied in his report 3 or 4 times before he finally wrote not an entirely accurate report, but a report that didn't contain out-and-out lies.
And I hate certain fuck-ups.
So, when you lower standards, because that's one of the big issues when it comes to corrections, is we don't have enough correction officers. We don't have enough correction officers by a fucking mile. Also, another big issue is we don't have enough cells. And what I mean by we don't have enough cells, if you wanted to have the safest prisons that you possibly could,
Mm-hmm.
you need to have it so that every cell within the prison is a solo rather than a duo. Because the vast majority of violence within prisons is celly on celly, especially sexual violence.
Okay.
Is celly on celly. Cellmate versus cellmate. That's what celly means. It's cellmate.
Yeah.
So you need a good offender to officer ratio, and you want solo cells. What we keep on having is a shit ton of states will end up being able to reduce their overall prison population. And then rather than distributing offenders throughout all the prisons equally, so that they can have a greater, or so that they can have a better offender to officer ratio, and so that you can have more solo cells, what they do is they close down prisons and then they consolidate prisoners into an ever smaller number of prisons.
I mean, we honestly need to open more prisons. We need to fucking open up asylums.
Yep.
Like, don't get me wrong. All right, there's
Prisons
this
aren't
one.
made to handle psych cases. The example that I use, because it is the clearest example of this, is imagine someone who's a paranoid schizophrenic.
Mm-hmm.
So paranoid schizophrenic, they think that the world is out to get them, everyone's watching them, and they're never safe, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so imagine that you're a paranoid schizophrenic. You think that everyone's watching you. Every hour or every 30 minutes to an hour, sometimes, depending on which type of cell hole you're in and what sort of orders you're on, it's every 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Two people walk by your cell, they look in at you for a moment, and then continue walking at all hours of the day. There's cameras that are watching every angle of your cell, and you know that there's cameras watching every angle of your cell. And if you act up, you're put into a cell that has a camera that is watching the entire cell, and now it's every 15 minutes, 24/7, round the clock, at least one person is looking at you.
And I'm pretty sure that's only confirming.
Yeah, probably makes it feel more like you're being watched, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because you quite literally are. And one of the big problems is that prisons have a lot of psych cases. Prisons are only allowed to force medicate prisoners under very specific conditions. So you have, again, that paranoid schizophrenic inmate who they go off med, they start to spiral, they get more and more paranoid. Now they're being confirmed they're having the paranoia confirmed because every little bit, at least 1 to 2 officers are looking at them and just seeing what they're doing. There's a shit ton of cameras watching them, and they still aren't on their meds, so they get worse and they get worse and they get worse. And this just keeps on feeding into itself. They get more paranoid, they realize people are looking at them more, they get more paranoid, they realize people are looking at them more, they get more paranoid, until eventually they're popped into a ISO cell, and they're on psych watch, which means that now it is every 15 minutes at least one person is looking at them, and technically you're looking at them almost constantly throughout every shift, but you have to note down exactly what they're doing every 15 minutes. Then, eventually they spiral to a point where the prison medical goes, okay, we need to give them their meds. So officers go in, the meds are administered, and then the offender starts acting normal. The paranoia is managed. They aren't getting the same hallucinations, the same delusions, the same level of anxiety. So they're calming down, they start acting okay, and everything's good. So they are taking their meds the entire time that they're in segregation, and they're getting better. And they're talking with people, they're having normal conversations, they don't sound fucking insane. So they get eventually popped back out to Gen Pop. While they're in Gen Pop, they eventually reach a point where they go, I don't need my meds.
And they spiral.
And they go off their meds. And we're back at step one.
I mean, but that's the same issue they have that basic motherfuckers outside. Oh, I feel great. I don't need my meds.
Yep.
And now they're spiraling.
And those were the people that we sent to asylum. Because asylums, they were set up with regulations and rules in such a way that you couldn't go, I'm not going to take my antipsychotic. You would take your antipsychotic. And by your antipsychotic being taken every time that it should be taken, you had far fewer incidences of acting out. Which meant that there were a lot of psych facilities, a lot of insane asylums, that they actually had working psych patients. And I don't mean that they were like industry asylums where the offenders, or not the offenders, but the psych patients were out in the yard breaking large rocks into small rocks. No, I mean like they would get a job in town. They would do their job in town. It's just at the end of their shift, they would come back to the psych facility. And that would be their home. So you had people that had psychological issues that were productive members of society despite being in an insane asylum because their symptoms were managed. The problem is, just like we're seeing with prisons, the funding for insane asylums didn't keep up with the number of people that we're putting into them. The staffing pay did not keep up. So you had fewer and fewer people willing to be insane asylum workers, which meant that you had larger patient to staff ratios, which meant that every staff member was more overworked. And when you have a condition where people don't go to the job because it pays well, then you're left with one of two sorts of people that get the job. People that just truly have a passion and they're able to afford making fuck all in order to pursue their passion. So these are the people that generally care. And then you have the ones that they realize that this is a position of power that they aren't being observed in. And those are not the people that you want to work that job.
Again, I realize you're gonna have fuck ups everywhere. To be honest with you, it's go ahead.
Well, it's one of those things where like I think I'm a little bit conflicted because when it comes to things like what's going on in the UK, because of how extreme those reports were, I'm more leaning towards death penalty for some people.
Well, like I've always been a fan of the death penalty. I don't think that everyone deserves the death penalty. I think that there should be specific rules in place. So, for instance, I don't think that a first offense, unless it is absolutely monstrous what the first offense was, should warrant a death penalty. So, what would be a non-monstrous, not death penalty offense. You kill someone in a crime of passion in the moment, where you kill them quick, but then you just keep stabbing them. That's fucked up. That's not good.
Yeah.
You should be in prison. But there's a major difference between that and you kidnapped someone, you kept them alive for 6 days as you tortured them, and then eventually you just decided to see how long they could last before their spirit left their body by just abusing the ever-living shit out of it. That type of shit, death penalty.
Yeah, like that's
Serial
completely utterly
offenses?
monstrous.
Death penalty. If it's something that you're going, okay, this has something that caused this, and it's a one-off. So, guy comes home, finds his wife in bed with his best friend, snaps, kills them both. That's not good. Deserves prison, not death penalty.
Yeah.
And woman does the same. Still not death penalty. If you are a serial killer, death penalty. If you're a serial, I don't think I can actually say the word, begins with an R on YouTube, death penalty. So, things like that. Yeah, there should be a death penalty for specific crimes. Horrific crimes, death penalty. Routine crimes that reach a certain threshold of severity, death penalty.
It's not meant to be like a, I think it's just, I see no use in keeping people that are actually monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody can be saved.
Yeah.
I'm of the mind that you have a certain percent of the population that are obligate angels. You have a certain percent of the population that are obligate demons. What do I mean by both of those terms? Doesn't matter what situation, doesn't matter what hell you put an obligate angel through. They will still be a good person. You could beat them like a dog every day of their life, and they would see someone else in pain, and they would do everything that they could to try to help that person. You have obligate monsters, and it does not matter what the obligate monster, what the obligate demon has happened in their life. They could have the happiest life in existence, and they would still be going, I wonder what they would sound like screaming when I ripped their fingernails off. There's no fixing that person. There's nothing that made them that way. They just are that way. And then the vast majority of people, they're somewhere in between, where situation does inform what they do and how they act. But there's even a caveat in that, because you can bring some of those back from the void. You can't bring all of them back.
Like I do understand that there's a fear of anything being abused. Like you can tell with Canada, like they started off with this idea that this assisted suicide would be for like terminally ill people.
Made.
And you've seen how that's gone.
Yep.
Yes.
So like, no, I don't want things to be exploited. I really do mean monsters. Like, yeah. I'm sorry, what I saw from the UK was just like, yeah, I would hang them.
Yeah. Especially the special gangs.
Yep.
And I know that's harsh, but at the same time, they sacrifice the most innocent, and they're only telling you about the ones that survived. So yeah, at the end of the day, like society has to protect them. We're all adults.
The number of times in that inquiry that I went to social services.
Yeah.
And social services, rather than helping me, gave me information on condoms.
Yeah. I was listening to somebody reading a report and talk about how she's just, at some point she just got fed up asking and became a fucking prostitute.
Yep.
Like, they were doing absolutely positively fucking nothing for her.
Yep. And the one who I think you're talking about the case of, it was particularly horrible because that was only after, as a 12-year-old,
Yep, it was 12 year old.
cops had already written her off as a prostitute.
Mm-hmm. Which is fucking sad.
So a young girl went, fuck it, guess I'm going to be one if I'm already labeled as one.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, there was so much in that where I was just like, it's not just the gangs. There's some people up in higher positions where I'm like, you should be, I don't know, Napoleon, I don't know. I'm not European. They're a little sometimes I think they're right because they, but
Sometimes you gotta just banish people.
yeah, I just I don't know, because some of them are just as monstrous. Because you can't look at a child like that and think like that. Like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that way about every cop either. It's just that report was eye opening, and I don't like Canada's so spread out, so it's really hard to say our reports and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like if you were to see numbers like that, it's going to be probably Montreal or Toronto or like Ontario, because they did get the bulk of it. Like I think the Maritimes got some too, but like ours are pretty spread out, and we haven't really had that much stuff. We have had a few little ones, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Again, this shit like this is getting wild and ignorant as hell.
And because I was asked a question about a specific case, sorry to jump the track a little bit, we can return in a moment. But just want to say this because I just double checked which one it was. I was asked my opinion at U.S. versus Hamani, which is the last name of the guy was Hamani, Hemani. It was an instance where a foreign resident of Texas legally owned a firearm for self-defense that he kept in his home, but he was also found in possession of illegal substances. In this case, it was marijuana. And he was charged with not only the possession of illegal substances, but also charged with the owning of a firearm while being an illicit substance user. The Supreme Court ruled that it was unconstitutional, especially since he hadn't been convicted of anything prior to this. So he hadn't had his rights, or his right to firearm ownership, properly revoked, as you would in the case of you're a convicted felon with certain types of charges, your firearm rights are revoked.
Mm-hmm.
So because he hadn't had any charges like that up to that point, it is unconstitutional to say that because he had a firearm while also smoking weed, that he unlawfully owned a firearm.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, I would agree with that. You don't get to pull someone's right to own a firearm until such time as there's proper court proceedings. The one caveat is, I would say, if there is sufficient evidence of specific types of instances beforehand. So let's say the guy is currently being charged with threatening a X or so and so with a firearm in this incident.
He proved himself a danger.
I'm okay with temporarily removing the firearm from their ownership until such time as it's decided in court whether or not they're guilty. At which time, if they are found not guilty, returning the firearm. If they are found guilty, then give them the options of proper disposal of their firearm. That's my take as an American.
Yeah.
I agree. Like you don't get the right to take my firearm away just because without due process. Because that's my God-given right to have fucking one.
Yeah, like I said, if he had already been convicted of drug offenses, and then they went, well, he had a firearm after being convicted of these drug offenses, and these drug offenses preclude the ownership of a firearm. So on this second round of busting him for drugs, we're also busting him for unlawful possession of a firearm. I wouldn't have an issue with that.
Yeah.
But since it was the first time, yeah, you need to go through the proper channels. You don't just get to say, well, because they were doing this crime, we're also going to charge them with firearm possession.
Again, it's like, remember they were talking about like red flags where you could, they proved like a danger to people without due process. Like somebody comes forward and say, oh well, XYZ is has XYZ mental issue and we should take their firearm away. Like no.
I'm not a fan of those. What I would be okay with is if it is sufficient to give them a 3-day. So, bit of a slang term there. Giving them a 3-day or a 72. Some people refer to it as that. There's a 3-day psychiatric hold where someone is a danger to themselves or others, and they are forced into a temporary psychiatric hold at a facility where they are evaluated and treated. If upon doing a 3-day hold, it does turn out that they are a legitimate threat to themselves or others, pursuing something after that, I'm okay. Pursuing something without that, no. I don't think that you should be able to hold someone's right to own a firearm without at least that.
Fair enough. But I don't.
Yeah, I'm not a fan
having a gun
of
is my goddamn right.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of red flag laws in general, but like I said, in an instance like that where they are found to be a danger to themselves and others through the proper channels, having some restrictions, at least temporarily, I don't think that I'd be okay with a complete ban for life, but having temporary until such time as you're able to complete this program, then you aren't allowed to possess this firearm in order to clear the fact that they are already found a danger to themselves or others. If that makes sense.
But like the initial thing was, I think Beto was proposing it, where it's supposed to you instantly if someone calls in.
That they were proposing it was an anonymous tip could say that you were a danger to yourself and others. And off nothing but that anonymous tip, they would be allowed to confiscate your firearms.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is fucked. Like I said, if it is sufficient of a tip to do a 72, and then upon the result of that 72, making a determination of, yes, this person is a danger, or no, this person isn't a danger.
Mm-hmm.
And if they are, they have a temporary restriction until such time as they are determined not to be a danger. That I can at least potentially be okay with.
Yeah, I'm not okay with any of that shit. Like, again, there's a due process for everything. And as much as we don't like the due process of it, there is a process. You can't just take away someone's weapon because, oh shit, you committed no crime, but I've decided that you don't deserve one. Just me.
Yep, like I said, for me it is... There has to be a process that isn't just an anonymous report, which is why I'm allowing for the 72.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is something that you have to reach a certain threshold in order to be able to 72 someone.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to go through that process, 72 them, and then have a temporary hold at the either a temporary hold until a court hearing over it, or a temporary hold until a program, depending on the type of incident it is,
Mm-hmm.
that I could be amenable to. Not saying I am, but I could be.
All right.
Yeah.
But I don't think you were quite done telling the full bit about the Montreal when I cut in due to that question.
No, I think it was pretty even, Steve. And I wasn't sure how long they really had to deal with situations, and like I know everyone's like they're all unique and stuff. I'd have to pull up a real article on the whole thing. But I prefer to leave it a little bit longer until there's more like legitimate information, because there's always more videos somewhere that somebody has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, there was stuff in there that I was like, that's kind of weird. It's not weird that we had a shooting, like, you know, you guys, that for you guys, that's really nothing new. Like, I had some people that I know from the South who kind of chuckled at me. They're like, 2 people, and that's it. You think that's
I do have to say, though, because this is something that has been driving me crazy for a little bit. Every time someone goes, oh yeah, but shootings in America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have shootings in America. Do you know that more people die of heat-related fatalities in the EU than of shootings in the US?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I've been watching that war on Twitter a little bit. Like the, you know, you could just get some AC, right? And there's a lot of Brits who are like, yeah, we kind of want to. We're just fine if we put them in because we're run by like retards.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so stupid. At best, some people might have a harder time putting AC into their houses. Like there is a thing where your windows you might have to work a little bit to get one fit. You know? That's
a great thing. We have the portable units now that they have effectively select your size closures, so it makes it so that damn near any window can.
Yeah, now
it's also, they're not as bad as they used to be. Like, yes, they are a little bit of a drain on the electricity, yeah, but they're not as bad as they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it's yeah, we notice an extra 12 to 15 bucks, but like if my brother didn't have his AC unit, like he's sun facing. So if I walk in, it's like, yeah, you could tell it's 8 degrees hotter. You know, I'm like, yeah, you're going to cause blisters with some people doing that shit. And if some people don't want it, go for it. Nobody's
I don't
forcing
need
it
an
on you.
AC.
You know?
I prefer not to have an AC. To be honest with you, I can't. I prefer the heat, but if it gets too cold, I start getting headaches.
You know, like that's the thing. Not everybody needs to have that kind of stuff, you know? So like if you don't want it, you don't have to. But like to go after your like neighbors when it's like it's their bills. They're paying for it.
Mm-hmm.
The fuck I care.
Like
That
One
you
of the
see,
things that
right?
is rather disgusting about the conversation, though, is the number of people that straight up lie about shit. Like there was, I'm trying to remember who it was. It was a person that I think the BBC had on that was meant to be a climate change expert. That they said that having AC in the UK would raise the ambient temperatures of the UK by 10 degrees, 10 to 12 degrees Celsius.
I got a small Sanguine. I got a small question. Small,
Yep.
so small. All right. So say the UK is about well, just use this number. I'm not going to give 400 square miles, right? Now, not all of the UK is rural, city folk. Now,
Mm-hmm.
we'll say that some country bumpkins don't got AC, quite a few. But then you got the city folk. If every person in the city and every house in the city in the UK were to have AC, it still wouldn't rate the fucking ambient temperature of the UK by anything.
Well, there have been studies about this. And everyone, when that person went on and said that live on air, or not everyone, but the people that knew about the studies immediately started going, well, we did a study in New York to figure out how much it raised New York's ambient temperature, 1 degree Celsius. We did a study to figure out how much it raised the most densely packed district in Tokyo. So just apartment upon apartment upon apartment upon apartment. The nightmare scenario where it is just a shit ton of ACs everywhere. How much do you think it raised it?
Not by that much.
About 1.5 to 2 degrees Celsius. That was it. So it would raise it by 10 to 12 degrees Celsius. Bullshit. I need
yeah.
AC to live, so I fucking will have it everywhere.
It's also the other thing that they were telling them is things like, well, you know, if you want to patch up your house with these green friendly materials so that you can insulate better. And I'm like, what is green materials?
Mm-hmm.
You selling to your partners?
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't get me wrong, they should do that too. Like, there's nothing wrong with learning how to insulate your house a little better, sure.
Fair enough.
But like, what is this whole green materials? Because they do that everywhere they go. They're like, okay, well, you should change these glass, like, you know, your windows to this particular type, and then you find out, well, no, they're like related to the people making money off of that.
So in other words, they're only telling you this so they can benefit. It is literally, oh well, we're only doing this so we can get a kickback.
You know, a lot of that was with Trudeau. Like, you know, he wanted us to eat the bugs and all this other shit, and then you find out, well, yeah, he has shares in their company.
Of fucking course.
You know, so there's like a lot of times where like, yeah, no, I'm sorry, your science just doesn't work. Um and they got to stop justifying why they're murdering people for it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
And like I said, there is a small temperature change in ambient temperature because the way that AC works, you can't just cool air on one side. You cool air on one side by heating air on the other.
Mm-hmm.
That's how AC units work. That's why the AC unit has to vent out your window. Because if you didn't, you'd just heat your apartment with the AC. You'd get some cool air out the front, but then warm air out the back, and the warm air out the back would be more than the cool air out the front. But again, the effect of that was massively oversold to an absolutely ridiculous degree. And if it's the difference between you have a lot of your elderly and a lot of your young, especially, dying due to heat related illnesses, it's worth having it warm up a little bit, just a little bit outside, to have it be cooler inside so that you don't have your elderly and your children fucking die.
Mm-hmm.
the other thing too is like they really want to do this mind washing. We're gonna make up history and how like weather worked. They've had heat waves before.
Yep.
Yeah.
They had entirely different methods of cooling off. They don't use them anymore because they've updated. So if you've updated, you have to update. That's what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't have cellars anymore to cool off in because we don't make cellars like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So you upgrade with it. And I tried to sell them screens. I was like, there's screens that can, there are screens that can help with the shade a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like AC's overall better. You should have some, but like they can help cut some of the heat out. But
like, if you want to reduce how much you have to run your AC, awnings, bring back awnings.
Yes.
Because if you have an awning above your window, it cuts the amount of heat that gets into your place ridiculously.
Because it's shady.
Mm-hmm.
Like my upstairs is far hotter than my downstairs. If I were to go downstairs, it's like fucking night and day.
Like my understanding from my buddy Noise, who's I think he's a little bit further south than you guys, but he said like when you're in the south, even if you have the AC unit, it doesn't mean you're overall cool. It just means you're cooler. You can kind of stand it.
Depending on how good your unit is and a number of other conditions, yeah.
Basically, because it's still there is a level of like overheat. And no, I'm not making fun of the UK, because like they do have heat waves. It really is just their people being like, yeah, we could just fix this with AC units. Stop being assholes. Like I was, the one time I was in France, they had the kind of heat wave where you could cook an egg on the sidewalk. Like, yeah, you got to have proper, because you have old people, you have children, and even with regular people, like, people working outside, yeah, they go into an AC unit for a few minutes and then they're okay to go out a little bit longer. But you gotta take care of people in certain circumstances. They sometimes it is old people doubling down. I get it. Our grandparents didn't have all of this stuff, but here's the thing: they had a lot of other methods to cool off. This idea that they didn't is retarded. It's so easy to look back like 200 years ago and be like, yeah, we don't understand everything because the language did change a bit, but you can still understand what they did.
They had their ways.
Yes. So, I hate this modern era of like, oh, you're too stupid to know this stuff. No, we're not. We're just tired of and honestly, a lot of the people who push this stuff are the rich fucks. Where you're like, no, I want to inspect all of your fucking mansions. If I see a damn single air conditioner in one of those,
Yeah.
I want their fines to be maximum.
Well, no. Well, see, the problem is
I'm a
it's
bitch.
rules for thee. It's always going to be rules for thee, not for me. You know, it's always going to be that way. No matter what we do, no matter what we say, they're gonna put their god shit opinion in yeah. Hey, fuck you.
Yeah, that's where I'm at a little bit mentally, because that's where I get a little bit mad is people who can afford to actually deal with their problems, dictating to everybody else what they can and can't do, and it's like, well, no, we don't do that anymore. We don't live like that anymore. That was a couple hundred years ago. We updated that. Remember? And we've been polite. Because we still pay our taxes. Fuck them. Sorry, I don't mind paying you, Sanguine, because you do a service for people. I actually get the impression that you enjoy doing your job because you try to help people. Even if you have days where you're like, shit, my stories are funny. But, there's a lot of times where I'm just like, yeah, I feel like I failed my grandfather a little bit. Yeah.
I don't feel like I failed my grandfather.
Yeah, but you're American.
He'd have been happy.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure which direction Tyr was going to go with that for a moment, and I got very worried. Because I had absolutely no problem imagining Tyr just going full Uncle Ruckus in that moment.
Ah, Lord. A white woman sure got a big heart.
Oh.
Took you out the jungle, taught you how to read.
Yeah, but then I talked to a snake, and I don't know why I thought the snake would talk to me back, because they can't.
I ain't saying white woman was bright. I just said she had a big heart.
That is why I'll still jump away from a snake, is because even though there's a part of me that thinks the odd snake is kind of cute, I don't recognize them as like normal to poisonous, and because I don't know that well, I'm just like, I'm going to assume you are until I know better.
Yes, that's how I operate around snakes. I assume you want to take a chunk out of my skin, so yeah.
For a moment there, I thought you were going to say, that's why I don't mess around with snakes. Because I can't tell when one's actually the devil in disguise.
Well,
Yeah.
if they got a fit, if he has a fiddle, I side he's on.
I used
If
to
he
watch.
starts talking to you, that's a pretty good indication.
Oh no, that's Sanguine, that's normal. Oh my God, talking to me.
I used to watch a guy whose channel is called Viper Keeper. He studies this snake venom. So every single one of his snakes is venomous, and his policy is he never ever touches them. But every once in a while, he will get a snake. Like, there's a couple of his green mambas that are a little bit friendly. Like, they approach him like they're curious about him. And he's like, I will not touch you. That is my rule. But I understand why I see you as cute, because I do think that you're just curious about me. But if I spook you a little bit, it doesn't matter. I'm a dead man, so I cannot let you touch me. And that's why I'm like, shit, I couldn't work with snakes. I couldn't work with any of that shit, because there is a little bit of truth to that, because it's not the snake talking to you, it's the human brain being like, is this snake actually friendly with me? And they might be, but they're still a snake.
Look, Jen, you know the rule. Don't step on snake.
Nope, I don't step on snake. And they do a service to the world, so I'm not like Saint Pat. I don't think that's Saint Patrick. I'm getting them confused. But the one where they were bashing the snakes
from Ireland.
Yeah. Like I'm not like that with it, but because I do think they service to the rest of the world. But no, I don't go out and just be like, oh look, there's a snake.
And
My
Frosted said that, Tyr, you failed Jen's grandfather. Don't know how, but you did it.
I'm sorry, Jen's grandfather. I failed you. As an act of contrition, I will something black man. I don't know. Something darky, something black man, something. Yeah.
I don't know why, but I immediately got the mental image of an old white man ghost doing the full "fuck your couch."
Fuck your couch, darky. I did. I wanted to say the other word, but I can't.
Yeah, same. This is the thing that always drives me crazy. There are so many insanely quotable lines. Like, God damn it, Boondocks knew what it was doing when it had the Martin Luther King speech.
Y'all acting like a bunch of.
well, that's just
Wax and Wayne love to complain.
I'm just responding to Frosted. That's just it. That's why I don't necessarily hate all snakes. Like, so my dad probably started me off on this path because
God damn it, Frosted.
I've had a pet of I've had turtles, I've had toads, I've had frogs. Yes, we had snakes.
God damn it, Frosted.
But when I was out with my dad in BC, I was there to help him with. They had a place there, and BC is the place to go for a lot of weeds. So I was there to help him with the yard work, and I admit I don't know one snake from the other, but he has a level of intelligence to at least know what snakes we actually have up here. Mm-hmm. So it was just a regular garden snake. And it was just a little baby too, but it just came out of nowhere, and I didn't even see snake. I just saw a giant fucking worm. Mm-hmm. Like ridiculously giant fucking worm. And so I screamed, and he came around the corner, picks it up by the head, around, like he's carrying the body pretty well. And he lifts it up, and I look at it, it's got the cutest little baby face. I'm like, I just screamed at a baby.
You know which snakes I fucking love to death, and I really would want to get one. Let me show y'all this. I think this is the cutest fucking thing ever. And yeah, fuck you, I said it. It's probably the cutest snake ever.
I swear, if you pull up the Arabian sand boa. And because I said that, let me pull up the Arabian sand boa so that you guys can see.
So it's called the hook nose, and I just wait, there it is. Let me see.
Oh yeah, Playing Dead.
Found a really good-sized hognose snake. After he flattened his head out, they have 3 defensives. They excrete a stinky solution out of their rear end. They flatten their head out like a cobra, open their mouth, and if that doesn't work, they play dead. This guy is in phase 3 pretty quick here, so he looks pretty dead, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I'll flip him over, and then he will decide that I'm not done playing dead, so he'll unright himself as soon as I do this. Oh, he's not looking too healthy. All right, you gotta keep flipping, buddy. Go ahead. Come on, play dead. Good boy. Good boy. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So you're upright. All right, play dead. Play dead. Good boy. Pretty crazy.
See, I was half expecting you to pull up the derpiest looking snake in existence.
There's a derpy. Oh yeah, I think I've seen it.
Let me pull up a good picture of it. So this looks like it is someone made a sock puppet snake. This is not a sock puppet snake. This is an actual fucking snake. So let me share this and share. That's an actual fucking snake.
Yeah, it's probably God got tired. So this is what I think. God had made all the other animals like, all right, I gotta make one more. Fucking tired. You there? You're God. Eyes on your head. Give you this goofy look. There, I'm done. I'm going to bed.
Let me see if I can find a clip of it. There's this snake that it looks like a toy breed, but
and if James Hall, if you're watching, we're not doing this to piss you off. I know you're terrified of snakes, so forgive us. James is fucking
in that
terrified
case,
of
let me
snakes.
pull up the derpiest looking non-snake animal that I know of.
I'm just saying, James is fucking terrified.
Have any of you ever heard of the harpy eagle?
No, I heard of it.
Okay, let me find a good picture so I can show you this Sam Eagle looking doofus.
What's the secretary bird called? The bird that looked like it is about to fucking call.
I didn't mean to turn that on. Shit. Sorry. You saw my face. Hideous. Hideous.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
Open image in new tab. Okay.
Yeah, that was.
This is the good picture that I can show you the fucking derpiness of this Sam Eagle looking motherfucker. Tell me that isn't a person in a Muppet costume.
It's cute.
That's just a midget dressed as a Muppet.
If it was blue, it would be that Muppet.
It would be Sam Eagle.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
He just needs the glasses.
Yep. Well, Sam Eagle didn't have glasses most of the time.
Because Sam Eagle was awesome. He didn't need glasses.
And yours is up now?
Yep. All right, I'll actually play it. She does have a little explanation. She actually has a whole series of these because she kept testing this with it. And yeah, her snake absolutely hates Markiplier.
Are you frying up a mark? Don't do that. Hello?
Seems fine. That's locked. Everything is good.
I really don't know what he's doing.
I mean, that might have been it. That might not have been.
I don't know what's going on right now. He's mad. What are you doing? I switched over to Charlie, and he doesn't really seem to care. He's kind of just doing his own thing.
Well, there's an anomaly.
I don't know if
I've detected it.
Okay.
I think it's just angry at it. It just does not like it. It does not like Markiplier.
By the way, if you guys think this is funny and you want to go watch her, I can link it. It's just I don't steal from people. I'm not.
Jen turns on her camera and actually reveals she was a snake the entire time. Well,
yeah.
If we're doing face reveals, I'll reveal my face too. Okay, here, look. Now I want y'all to be okay. I'm sorry if this scares anybody, but this is what I really look like. Don't look at me. I'm hideous.
Don't you lie. Your DNA test came back 102% African with a 2% margin of hair.
Again, I'm hideous. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. My real name is Miat Jabul.
The Boulder Boy himself.
King Boulder, yes, King Boulder. You know, I'm the only man in the world to get turned on when a never-ending story when the rock biter turn on, like ooh. Look at those that mountain.
Everyone talks about how fucking
Here's
heartbreaking Artax's death is.
No one talks about the rock biter.
The rock biter's monologue. Holy
he
shit!
He just fucking gives up. Like I'm fucked, man.
Just the rock biter sitting there going, "These look like strong hands." They look like they can hold a lot, but I couldn't hold on. Is fucking heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's someone who is used to their strength
Being the thing.
enough to protect everything that they care about.
And he couldn't fight the nothing.
And it's not just he couldn't fight the nothing. It's he's the only survivor.
Yeah.
So not only could he not fight the nothing, but even though he tried to protect everyone, even though he tried to save everyone, he couldn't. And not only could he not, but he didn't even get to die in the process. And that sounds kind of fucked up. But he would have preferred if anyone else had been the survivor. And he had
massive survival
saving them. Yeah. You don't know the Rockbiter, Frosted?
You've
never seen the Neverending Story?
Oh.
I think the biggest travesty in the Neverending Story is them not. I get it that the second story is supposed to take place like the day after.
Mm-hmm.
And not getting a younger actor to portray Sebastian. Because there's like, what, 2-3 years in between, and by then puberty had fucking started hitting the character.
Mm-hmm.
It takes you out a lot, yeah.
And it really fucking, because again, you're looking, I'm sorry to do this, but you're looking at this teenager ask for fucking toys to fucking fight the witch. When he should have enough mental fortitude and knowledge to go, maybe I need something stronger than toys. Maybe I need actual fucking soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes no fucking sense. But again, that's just me.
If we could get a 1-to-1, keep every scene the same, just do a straight reshoot.
Mm-hmm.
I would want them to do back-to-back reshoots, just like happened with the Lord of the Rings. Or back-to-back shoots, just like the Lord of the Rings. That way, they don't have that character's obviously old, or that actor's obviously older.
Mm-hmm.
Just have it be continuous.
I would like that too.
I think it was something back in the day where their budget must have been. I can imagine they were doing similar things back then as they were doing now. We just didn't notice it as much, or at least I didn't because I was a child. But like the idea that they could tank a show that early by reviews wouldn't surprise me.
Wow. It had I'm reading the first Neverending Story. It had a domestic budget of 60 million German money, Deutschmarks, 60 million Deutschmarks. So that's about 25 to 27 million, and it grossed in U.S. money 100 million. So it was a success.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I am really curious about something though. Do you guys remember Monster Rancher?
I love that game. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you remember the show?
Yes.
You remember Golem, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder if they took any inspiration from Neverending Story with that.
There's also another character in another game called Legend of Mana. He is named Gainus of the Sage of Earth, or one of the wise men. Mm-hmm. And he is literally not a one-to-one, but you can clearly tell he was made from the Rockbiter of Mana. One of my favorite games, that's why I remember it very vividly. He's one of the wisdoms. Sorry. Wisdoms are a group of ancient, knowledgeable men, women, characters. And he's one of them. And let me see if I can find the good. Here it is. This is.
Because I just remember when I first saw Monster Rancher and I saw Golem, my mind went to Rockbiter.
This is Gainus.
Nice.
And you can clearly tell he's meant to be the rock biter because even his hand is even part of the earth that he can fucking move up and down. And when he talks, I don't think they have a scene of him talking, but he has. They don't do voice acting in, but you can clearly see this part moving. And he is literally the rock biter.
And it's that kind of slow, ponderous speech.
Yes, it's meant to be he's the watcher of the world. He can't fucking move. All he can do is sit there and watch it, and he knows damn near everything. So yeah.
Well,
but
I think there's a lot of times where they've taken inspirations. Like, you know, it's not like flat out the same. Like they do tweak it a lot so that you know it's their version of whatever they want to do. But like, if you think of the giant turtle, well, how many times do you find a giant turtle in Japanese anime?
Oh yeah.
It's Genbu. So those that don't know, and Frost is going to call me weak, so fuck you. There are 4 gods of the 4 directions. There is in the south. There's Suzaku, which is the vermilion bird or the phoenix. In the west, it is east is fucking Byakko. East is Byakko, west is Genbu, and north is Seiryu. Seiryu is the water dragon. Genbu is the earth turtle or the black turtle, and then you have the white tiger of the wind, and it's representing the 4 directions of heaven, the 4 celestial beasts. Yes, I'm a weeb. Fuck you. I know that. Kiss my ass.
But not every turtle represents.
He knows all this, but still can't find the DMV. Technically, my DMV moved twice. I don't fucking know where it is.
But you know what I mean when I say not every turtle that they do is necessarily Genbu. Sometimes it's Genbu. A lot of times it is.
Here, all you have to do is ask your neighbor. You people run the DMV.
That's true. It's also that most turtles are based off of Gamera.
You could totally see the Japanese doing a never-ending story, though.
And Frosted.
God no.
Yeah. Rockbiter is from the Never-Ending Story. Fantastic character. He does kind of have some like mannerisms where he has this slow, ponderous method of speaking.
Yes.
Where it takes a while for him to say what he's saying. And his character is played in a way where when you first hear him start talking, you're going, oh, he's stupid. And then as he keeps talking, you're going, no, he's just thinking through everything that he says as he says it. So it's not that he's stupid, but he's almost chewing every word before it comes out. And that's what makes him a fantastic character, because he's also ridiculously strong, and it is stated many times how insanely strong the Rockbiter is. So getting that monologue of him just lamenting that he was strong enough to survive, but he wasn't strong enough to save any of the people that he wanted to save. And he lost his wife, he lost his children, and he's just absolutely broken by it. Just kind of sitting there, waiting for his chance to go. Because what's the point? He wasn't able to save anyone. And if he isn't strong enough to save anyone, why the fuck does he have to be strong enough to keep living?
Again, survivor's guilt.
Yeah, it is survivor's guilt. When in a children's movie, which is what children's movies used to be amazing, because they would have these moments that legitimately stick with people, allowing children to kind of dip their toes into things that most people would go, oh, that's too much for a child. What do you mean you're going to expose a child to what depression is? That's going to fuck them up. What do you mean you're going to expose them to survivor's guilt? What do you mean you're going to expose them to actual death?
Yeah.
I think the only complaint that I would have with that movie, and I'm not saying this because the scene itself, it's one of those things where sometimes Hollywood will put something in there where when you look back, you wonder if they were doing something. So the horse scene, I think the reason I was traumatized by it is because I always wondered if Hollywood actually tortured a horse.
No, but you got the fucked up part about the horse scene is the horse in the book talked.
Mm-hmm.
The horse in the movie didn't. The horse in the book was like, what the fucking point? Because they were going through the mire muck. The muck of despair. And was like, what's the fucking point anymore? And it's just fucking terrible. Like, he just gave up.
And him, the main character, trying so desperately to motivate him, to get him to keep moving.
Yeah.
Because this is his friend who has been with him the entire time. And he's trying everything.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't work. And the fact that you have that scene and the rock biter monologue in the same fucking run, good God. That it goes, here's what depression is. Congratulations, you now see someone going through survivor's guilt, but not able to handle what that means. Here's someone who does handle what it means and understands what it means, but is being broken by it.
Like, that movie was... But it was a movie meant to explain... to come to terms with your mother's death. Like, like that was Sebastian's whole fucking thing. Like, him trying to get over his mom's death.
It's also scenes like the nothing. Like, okay, yeah, the first time I saw it, I had a little bit of a jump scare. But, you know, the second time you watch the movie and you actually listen to what he's saying, like, yes, he's a villain. He is. But at the same time, you understand that he has a philosophy for why he's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And that teaches you about motive. You know, like, some people have this, crazy idea that they have a motive for why they need to do this thing. And in their mind, they're being merciful.
Mm-hmm.
Not every monster, no monster is a monster in their own head.
You know, so
rather very few. There are some that are just, I'm evil and I really enjoy being evil.
If you ever, sorry to cut you off, John, but if you ever watch 8mm, the villain in 8mm, one, not the main villain, but one of the villains in 8mm goes, I'm not from a broken home. No one abused me. No one hit me. I actually came up with an affluent family. My mother and father loved me. I just love fucking doing this. I love torturing people. I love hurting them. I love it. That's why I fucking do it. He was a fucking monster.
Yep. But I do love, like I said, classic children's movies.
Mm-hmm.
They were so fucking good. Oh, and now if you want to see a movie that did something fucked up to a horse, what is it? Is it Kingdom of Heaven? Not the medieval one, but no, Heaven's Gate. I think that's what it's called. Let me quickly double check. Heaven's Gate. Yep, this is the film that I'm thinking. So Heaven's Gate is a movie that is based in the Old West, where there's a massive kind of battle.
I'll be back. I'm going to the bathroom really quick, but I'm listening.
And you know how every movie that has animals in it now says no animals were harmed in the filming of this movie?
Yeah.
Do you know why?
Because sometimes they were harmed in the making of certain movies.
Because Heaven's Gate accidentally blew up a horse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nearly killed the rider.
Well, Italian movies, they actually harm the animals. They don't fucking care.
Tear coming from downtown.
It's
No,
kind
I'm
of...
just saying, the Italian movies, they really hurt they would harm animals and like, okay, and fucking par course. That shit was fucking weird.
But yeah, Heaven's Gate accidentally blew up a horse. Almost killed the rider because the rider then got hit by horse shrapnel.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like it's sometimes it is a talented animal, but sometimes I'll have a question mark afterwards. Like, did they actually torture a horse for the scene? Because I wouldn't put it past them. And that's a really bad reputation, Hollywood. Like, I don't doubt that they've improved a lot, but at the same time, though, there's still times where I'll rethink something and be like, was that actually a good thing to do? Because that's how we learn as a species as well. Yeah. But I didn't mind the philosophy. It's like a lot of the kids' movies. Some of the ones that were a little bit extreme, yeah, they could be considered a little bit something to have a conversation with the kid about. But I think that was kind of the point. Like, I don't think, we expected our kids in the 70s and 80s to be as retarded as the ones that are now. And a lot of the ones that are now aren't retarded. Their parents are. I don't think they're really retarded, but like I think they are holding their own kids back. And I know we live in a society where it's harder to spend more time with your kids. There is truth to that. I'm not, without some understanding, but we need to figure out something that works because a discussion works really well and movies worked.
I really miss when every children's movie had that scare the fuck out of the kids moment.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead.
they were never without purpose. They always had a reason to be scare the fuck out of the kids. And it was always something that was a life lesson in and of itself. So you have The Land Before Time, and you have the scare the fuck out of the kids moment with the parents trying to take out the T-Rex.
Yeah.
And parents fucking dying.
Well, the only one that died was Littlefoot's mother.
Yeah. Which is a big fucking moment. You start off a movie and boom, parent dead.
Also, it's one of those hindsight ones where when you compare like every other like TV T-Rex, in hindsight, Land Before Time had the T-Rex of like it was a psycho.
Mm-hmm.
Like at every step of the way, it could have gone somewhere else and probably gotten a better meal. But no, I really want these delicious babies.
Well, which was kind of odd because every other dinosaur was portrayed to have some level of intelligence, but the T Rex was still acting on animal instincts because again, it wanted those specific kids.
Until later on in the series, because
And yeah, when you got
we just picked up-
Tyke, was it Tyke
Yep.
or Tyre? Yeah,
yeah, the baby T-Rex.
they had like 11 of those fucking movies, man.
Yep.
I knew they did. I just kind of stopped with one. It's not even because of Judy Bursey. I didn't know that she was the voice actress until I found out about All Dogs Go to Heaven. But it was just like the ones that came afterwards just weren't as good. And I know that from the second one because I did try that. I was a daycare kid, so like they played what we had. But the second one just didn't sound right. And you know what? It might actually be Judy because her voice was so cute as Ducky. I thought she was so adorable. She was my, I liked all of the characters. They were all cute to me in their own way, but she was just so like chirp chirp chirp, yip yip yip. And
Like they just adopted fucking Spike. Just like wow. Like don't you ask your parents' consent? You just fucking adopted him. Okay. Guys over there eating half the fucking village.
but yeah, it just wasn't quite the same, and sometimes you can get away with that with kids. And I didn't get into music because my parents didn't want to pay for a music instrument that would annoy my dad later on in life because everyone starts off sounding like shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so he went with they both went with the excuse that they are expensive, and they are.
Indeed.
One of the worst musical instruments at the very start are any brass instruments.
Yeah.
Because there's a moment where you're just learning embouchure at the very beginning. Are you guys familiar with what embouchure is?
Fuck no, you're gonna have to explain that one to me.
Embouchure is mouth placement and air movement.
Yeah.
So it's how you place your mouth in order to actually make the instrument produce sound.
Okay.
The way that you do it for brass instruments is every brass instrument has its mouthpiece. Its mouthpiece is separate from the rest of the instrument. So you start off learning just how to make noise with the mouthpiece.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, you guys talk. I'm going to quickly grab something because I think I still have something for this.
Oh no,
If
Sanguine's
you
gonna
could-
grab something.
If you could think of like a different way of going about it, you could mimic sort of the sound with a straw to a certain degree, because a straw is, I mean, it's not a flute, but you could make a flute out of a straw.
Oh, okay, a reed whistle, got it.
Yeah. But if you think of like just that sound, but you're trying to figure out how to make that sound with no little dots to kind of direct the sound, it's just that with your mouth.
Okay. I do still have my trumpet, and I do still have my trumpet's mouthpiece. So, mouthpiece is a little funny cone-shaped thing with a fairly long neck on it. But it sounds god-awful without the rest of the trumpet, because all you're doing is you're learning how to vibrate your lips and control the airflow. So, it ends up sounding like...
Okay.
So you're a leaf whistler. Massachusetts.
That's a brass, so it's not using a reed. This just uses vibration through brass.
Okay.
So, yeah, sounds god awful. And for like the first 3 weeks or so, depending on how in depth it is.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have you just practicing.
It sounds like
You're a duck who's masturbating. This is Donald Duck.
Yeah.
I'm about to say you're over there, fucking flargling the snork or something.
So
I don't
they'll have you
know.
work up and down with the. And they'll also have you practicing. This sounds wrong as well. Tonguing. So they'll have you practice tonguing, which is just the. That stop in between the sound is tonguing, because all you're doing is you're slapping the back of your teeth with your tongue.
Okay.
Makes sense.
And Rotten, I'm sure that he was very happy with your playing.
Whoa, what?
Rotten said that he played baritone. Baritone is not only a type of instrument, but it is also a musical part for singing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing with
The meat
know what
flute tier, the meat flute.
you know what I mean, though, when I say that when you're musically inclined, sometimes that includes speech patterns. Like, not always, but sometimes. So as a kid, like, I was actually into music. I did figure out how to play some piano pieces because my mom managed to con my dad into letting her take an organ piano.
Mm-hmm.
And I think her reasoning was, well, Jen does kind of like music, and she liked trying to play a few things, but I never read the music. I just remember how to play songs, so I would listen to something that she would like and figure out like at least a halfway through a song. And piano and organ is actually relatively easy to do that with. It is. And so I started off with that, and at best I kind of really liked the strings. I'm not saying guitar, but I kind of really liked violins, and all the violins, actually. I like all of them. They all have their own strings and method to it. But my dad was like, oh, hell no. One, they are actually expensive, and I understand that. Like, even back then, you'd go in and be like, no, I understand. That's a lot of money. And for two, he's got sensitive hearing as it is, so it's like, oh, shit. No to that one. But if you have a level of hearing to music, you can tell when there's a difference between certain singers and artists. And sometimes I forgive people for being different. Like, they don't have to always be the same. That's not my issue. It's just there's a certain key to being like kind of right with what you're singing. And yeah, I didn't find that with a lot of the cartoons when they would switch certain actors. Like, sometimes it would work, and a lot of times it didn't, and I just stopped watching them. Like, I don't know what happened here, but you're messing with my head, and I don't like it.
And Frosted, once you start playing a musical instrument, as long as you're playing a musical instrument, if it requires your mouth to play it, tonguing is a lifelong practice.
Thank you, Sanguine. That I will never forget that. Yeah,
You're welcome.
Thank you, Sanguine. Thank you.
It's how you break up your notes.
Oh.
Sanguine never change.
You're welcome.
Like, seriously, never change. You'll frighten me.
The only people that you have to be really worried about if they say that they practiced a lot of tonguing in band is if you find out that they were percussionists.
Oh, God. What? Why would the drummer need to practice tonguing?
Different sort, and that's the joke.
Oh!
Tears like too much education.
Mm-hmm.
Why Sanguine? Why must you destroy what is so beautiful?
Because I could.
You are a monster. Thou art evil, Sanguine.
Mm-hmm.
He's a mastermind. Mastermind.
Thou soul is a cavern of darkness.
See, the problem that I have with music education is, in some ways, it is really good. In some ways, it is really shit. One of the things that it's really shit at is keeping people interested, because it will teach you to play a piece of music, absolutely, but then you'll play that same piece of music unadulterated like 600 times.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll play the next piece of music like 600 times, and then you'll play the next piece of music like 600 times. And a lot of people go into music thinking, oh, I'll be able to have fun. I'll be able to make songs. I'll be able to do shit like that. But it tries to get all the like concert basics down, at, which causes people to have their eyes glaze over because your 67th time playing hot cross buns in the past 3 days really wears thin.
It kills the soul.
Yep. So it becomes something that a lot of people tune out of music education because it is all, well, nope, you played that quarter note in the 5th stanza wrong, so let's go back and correct that. Nope, you played, your whole note was actually 3/4 of a note, so you moved along a bit too quick. Let's go back, make sure that you get your whole notes correct. Do we need to do scales again? No. So it would really benefit from having more elements of play in the lessons. You wouldn't progress as quickly through each song, but it would make it so that you stick with playing music longer.
At least let you finish the song.
Yeah. But I'm saying more like play as in play random notes for a little bit. And you just kind of play random notes. And like, here's 4 notes, put them in any order that you want. And you just start playing those notes in random orders. And random lengths and random times. So that you can actually have more fun playing rather than it being, well, I didn't get this measure right. I didn't get that measure right. I didn't get this phrase and this stanza right.
So you're not beating yourself up.
Yeah. And like I said, it makes it so that it's more fun to play the music. And by being fun, people are more likely to stick with it.
I mean, that's all. What's the word I'm looking for? That is all people should do nowadays. Like we hop between things far too often.
Yep. And we need more. Do you guys remember old school edutainment games?
Yes. A while back, if you noticed, my thing said Free Carmen San Diego.
Yep.
I missed that.
We need to bring back edutainment games in a big way.
I want Sim Earth to come back. The SimCity games were great and all, but I want Sim Earth back. You know, where you're creating life essentially.
Yep. Did you ever play Dr. Brain? Any Dr. Brain game?
I don't remember.
Dr. Brain was an absolutely ridiculous game in the best possible way, because every single section of the game was a different sort of puzzle.
Okay.
And it required you to be able to shift your thinking throughout the entire game, because one section you'd be dealing with effectively a Sudoku puzzle. Another, you would be dealing with really basic programming. Another, you would be having to figure out which classic philosopher had this sort of sentiment in order to get the clue, in order to solve this puzzle. Another area, you'd be doing a cryptographic puzzle. Another one, you'd be doing a Tower of Hanoi. Another one, you'd be doing just a fucking jigsaw puzzle. And they shifted throughout the entire game. And you could dial up the difficulty for specific puzzle types or for every puzzle type as you were going through it. Adjusting it to your difficulty. Every time that you beat the game, it would naturally default up.
Makes sense.
Really good game. Hell of a lot of replayability. Because every time that you played, the puzzles would be slightly different. With the exception of like a Tower of Hanoi. Once you got to a 15-piece Tower of Hanoi, it's a 15-piece Tower of Hanoi. But every other one would dial up its difficulty or dial down depending on how well you were doing. It made it really interesting. And it was so many different types of puzzles and different fields that it was a legitimate challenge, because even if you were really good at chemistry, well, not every puzzle was chemistry.
Okay.
Even if you were really good at math, not every puzzle was math. So there would always be a puzzle type that would be your weak spot.
I remember playing shit like Sim Earth and fucking Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego. And those games sat and made you think, because you'd get the clue, and if you didn't know the clue, you couldn't follow it through time. You know? And there was very little hand-holding, which I fucking loved. But eventually, when you figured this shit out and you went through time, you learned something about the error or what you were trying to steal. I missed those games. I really did.
Yeah, it felt like it was an accomplishment.
Yeah. And again, you were, as you were playing, you were still learning something, albeit it's a fucking obscure. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
But it was still something worth knowing.
Yep. Another really good puzzle game where there was zero hand holding. Did you ever play The Logical Adventures of the Zumbini?
No.
Okay, so it was a really weird game. It was a puzzle game meant to teach the basics of coding without having you have to learn coding.
Okay.
So every puzzle was effectively a series of logic gates.
Okay.
And you had to figure out if the gate was an and, an or, or some other
If then.
Formation of logic gates. So you would have your Zumbini, and you'd have, I think it was 18 Zumbini at the start of every run. And those 18 Zumbini, you could design yourself, but if you had too many of one feature, that feature would not be selectable for the rest of your character creation. So you had to have a mix of Zoombini with different features every time. And it was the features of the Zoombini that were the basis of most of the logic puzzles. So the first puzzle was the sneezing cliffs.
Okay.
Which I don't think it actually had a proper name. It's just everyone kind of knew it as the Sneezing Cliffs because it was 2 suspension bridges over a cliff with this series of faces carved in the cliffs. And if you sent the wrong Zoombini across the bridge, the cliff would sneeze, knocking that Zoombini off the bridge back to the start. And a peg would fall out of the bridge support.
Oh.
So you had to figure out what combinations of characteristics could go across each bridge in order to get all your Zoombini across. And then you'd do that, and then it would be 4 different tunnels that you could go into, and you had to select which Zoombini could go through which tunnel. And each puzzle was different.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't explain the puzzle to you. It was just kind of, you saw what it was, or what it looked like, and that would inform you of what you were doing. Because if you see a series of bridges and your Zoombini on one side and nothing's on the other, you look at it and you go, oh, I need to get my Zoombini to the other side. How do I get my Zoombini to the other side? Let me drag this one at the bridge. Okay, that one crossed. Let me drag this one to the bridge. That one crossed. Let me drag this one to the bridge. The fucking cliff face sneezed at me. Why didn't this Zoombini go across that bridge? Let me drag it to the other bridge. Okay, went across the other bridge. Why could it go across that bridge but not this bridge? Let me drag this Zoombini. That Zoombini went across. So it wasn't the eyes. Let me drag this Zoombini. That Zoombini went across. So the Groucho Marx noses can go across that bridge without any fucking problem. Let me drag all the Groucho Marx. Why did that Groucho Marx get rejected? And you'd have to puzzle out each of the different selection criteria. So it was a fun game where you were figuring out the solutions.
Wish we had more games like that.
As you went through, there were 2 different rest stops that if you didn't have enough Zoombini, you could store your Zoombini there for another run. And if you had Zoombini fall out in your run after those rest stops, your Zoombini would return to the rest stops for you to pick up later.
Mm-hmm.
And as you completed a run, depending on how many Zoombini you got to the end location to make the new Zoombiniville, different structures would be built.
Zoombiniville.
Yeah, it was the home of the Zoombini. But yeah, the game was just the logical adventures of the Zoombini.
Again, we need more games like that.
Yep.
Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, nowadays you could probably do something like that and get away with it.
I think you could. And the reason I think you could is because we just had Blueprints become a big popular game not terribly.
Oh, I'm still playing on Blueprints. And all Blueprints really is fucking...
It's an old school puzzle game.
It's an old school roguelite. That's all it really is.
No, it's more than that. Because it's like if Myst was a roguelike.
I wish Myst was a roguelike.
Because each run, you get more information that helps you on your runs that you do after that. So you have to take notes. You have to actually look at what you're finding.
Setsu was playing a new game earlier today that kind of made me think of that. God Save Birmingham. I came in joking.
Birmingham.
Yeah, it's so it's early access. So he was just giving it he's testing things. And he found that that's what it was that he really liked, was the amount of detail that they put into where you have to really look at what you've got. Mm-hmm. Like you might be looking at a box, but then you look at a box and like, well, what's the box made of? Well, it's made of wood and planks and nails and things like that, and it is set in a medieval era, but it has the element of zombies. Mm-hmm. And he kind of likes he kind of likes some of how they've designed that too. So like, yeah, the zombies are really, really slow, but it doesn't take much for a whole bunch of them to really kind of corner you all of a sudden. Mm-hmm. Or they can actually break down the door, so you do have to lock them properly. Otherwise, they'll slowly break down your barriers and things. So, they've given them enough of a cleverness to still have an element of fear, but mm-hmm. It's not so much of a challenge that you can't kind of figure it out, but you really do have to pay attention to it. At best, his only complaint is because it's early access, you can't save the game. And like if I want to go to bed, yeah, I'd like to start where I've ended. So at the very least, I'd like that. But like if they left it as like, okay, well, if you die, you have to restart, I don't mind that either. Like that element of because right now that's part of the issue he has, is if you die, you restart. But I don't mind the element of challenge to that, because it does mean like, okay, well, do you remember what you did the last time? Can you do it better this time? Mm-hmm. There should be an element of fear to something in your game sometimes. Maybe not all the time, but sometimes it's nice to have the extra challenge. And then, are you actually reading things? Are you paying attention? Mm-hmm. He kept burning his toes cooking food, Tyr. It was funny.
I really miss when notebook games were big.
Where you had to take fucking actual notes?
Yep. Where if you wanted to play Myst or play Riven, you had to take notes. Because if you don't take notes, you weren't going to understand what the fuck you're supposed to do. Especially if you stop for even a moment. And you have a day in between when you found this bit of information and the next time that you play. You aren't going to remember the weird bit of information that you just found out. So you need to take notes, or you need to have an absolutely ungodly memory. And there were a lot of games like that. One of my favorite games that I remember playing when I was younger was the Journeyman Project 3. So the Journeyman Project games were trippy time travel and potentially interdimensional puzzle games. Mm-hmm. Where in Journeyman Project 3, you went to 3 lost cities at different times. So some of the game took place in Atlantis. Some of the game took place in Shangri-La. Some of the game took place in El Dorado. Okay. Those were the 3 cities. And as you went through the game, you would find something in Shangri-La and you'd pick it up there. And that item wouldn't be used in Shangri-La. You'd have to travel to Atlantis or travel to El Dorado in order to find where that particular item was used. And it was fairly well-grounded puzzle game. It wasn't the moon logic that a lot of puzzle games get. Some good examples of moon logic puzzle games were the Monkey Island games and Mystery of the Druids. And yes, I know that I'm saying it weird because that's the way the song says it. It's a mystery of the Druids. Those dudes had some attitude. But yeah, those games have moon logic in them. So
yeah,
the Journeyman Project games, they didn't have the moon logic. So you'd see an item and sometime you'd know exactly where it goes because they would be like, oh yeah, when you were in El Dorado, there was a basket with a torn hot air balloon. And then when you're in Atlantis, you find a bolt of cloth. And it's a really durable cloth that is really tightly woven. And you'd go, oh, I bet I can use this cloth to fix the hot air balloon. And you'd go back and you can use that bolt of cloth to fix the hot air balloon. And that would allow you to fly up into the sky and see effectively Inca lines that allowed you to then solve another puzzle. So sometimes the puzzle piece would be in the city that you were in at that moment when you found one. Sometimes it would be in a different city. And you'd have to travel.
Figure out some way.
Yeah, you'd have to travel between the cities and see how far you could get before you'd get stuck and go, well, I don't have this thing that allows me to progress past this. And then you would go to one of the other cities, look around until you find something that stops you there, and see if you found something that helped you in the first city. And if you didn't, then you'd go to the third city and travel around until you couldn't progress any further and see what item you had that would help you in the first or the second one. So it was a lot of travel between the three cities and solving puzzles in all of them.
Yep, helped you with memorization.
Like I said, it was a game that was a notebook game. So, yeah, you could just try to memorize it and power through that way. But it's so much easier just going like, found in Atlantis near this temple, a wax signet mold. And then you would progress through the game, and then you would find gold in another area, just lumps of gold. And then you would find a small furnace. And you'd go, oh, I bet if I threw the gold in the small furnace, and then I placed the signet mold at the end of that I can make a signet out of this. And that signet might be able to help me through this element where I needed to stamp this bit of paper with the proper signet in order to be able to go past this guard in this city. So you'd make a golden signet, and then you would get ink and paper somewhere else, and you would be able to assemble your pass to get past a guard.
The one thing I hated about Moon Logic games. All right, so there are some Moon Logic games that do have an element of intelligence to it.
Yep.
And then you have it's one called Tiny Toons Adventure.
Yep.
It had Moon Logic, and it was a ridiculous Moon Logic because it's based off a cartoon. So you would think in order to open the key, a locker, you will use a key.
Yep.
No, use the apple. And it would make no sense. Well, you gotta give them. There's a monster inside of that locker that you give the apple to. The fuck? Mind you,
Okay.
this is, yeah, like it's ridiculous moon logic.
Yep. Probably one of the best examples of moon logic is the salt section of the Mystery of the Druids.
Mm-hmm.
Where if you fuck up and you leave before you get salt from a boat, then you've lost. You've soft locked yourself because it saves as you leave, and there's no way to go back and get the salt. And in order to actually use the salt, you have to find a specific gravestone. There's no indication that it's the specific gravestone. You just need to find a specific gravestone, put the salt on the grave, and then use a human femur that you grabbed from a crime scene, and you're just a terrible detective, so you never actually turned it into evidence.
Wow.
To grind the salt on the gravestone.
What?
And if you do that, congratulations, you're allowed to progress. If you fuck up at any point of that, you don't grab the gravestone, or you don't find the right gravestone, you don't get the human femur and keep it on you, or you don't find the salt, then you soft-locked yourself and you have to start over.
See, that's all right. I think if you're gonna have moon logic in your game, there should be no way to soft. There should be it. You shouldn't be allowed to soft lock it.
Yep.
You are already asking me to juggle, chew bubblegum to open a door guarded by a clown, essentially. Like that's what you're asking me to do.
Yep.
Now, I have to puzzle this shit out, trial and error style. You shouldn't be allowed to just lock me in and go, well, you missed this. Well, how the fuck was I supposed to know that this was required? Because you and your fucking weird ass logic.
Yep. Also, one of the other moments that is what the fuck am I even watching from Mystery of the Druids is the main character that you play is a police detective. He's a god-awful police detective, but he's a police detective. At one point, you end up getting abducted.
What?
And then you find out that they're murdering people, and then they have you go to dinner with them.
What?
And Halligan, the character that is the police detective, sits down at the very strange dinner with the known cannibal, creepily pale druids. Again, I'm knowingly saying this wrong because it says it wrong throughout the entire fucking game.
So they're not druids, they're druids.
They're druids. So you sit down with them at the dinner table, and in a cutscene, so you can't do fuck all about this, Halligan, who's just sat down with known cannibals, immediately starts eating the meat of undescript nature put in front of him.
Ew.
And as he's eating, the druids start talking about how, oh, you're already eating. Well, this is the person. You're still eating. Well,
Ew.
you're now one of us, and now we can control you. Why the fuck were you still eating? We didn't control you yet.
Ew.
And it's just Halligan being the fucking insect in a person suit that he is, not in real life, just there's no way of explaining Halligan other than he has to be some sort of insectile alien inhabiting a person. Just effectively knowingly and willingly commits cannibalism out of curiosity.
Wow.
And there's a lot of moments where it's just, oh, Halligan has absolutely no respect for human life. Like, he almost poison, or he doesn't almost poison. He poisons a bum and almost kills him in order to steal his money.
What? He's a cop, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And he does, in fact, get in trouble for that, but he lies his way out of it.
What do I want to know what he says?
That, oh no, I don't know that bum. He must have thought that it was someone else. And it must be a case of mistaken identity. I have no clue why that bum thinks this. Just tries to lie his way out and then never actually goes back and reports to the police what the fuck happened.
So you're essentially playing Drevin, Detective Drevin. Got it. Frank Drevin from,
so much worse. So much worse.
How can it be worse?
Drevin was capable, just weird and funny because of the nature of Police Squad. This guy's completely incapable and has been locked out of the police information system because he kept calling in reports that, not Albert, one of the princes is actually a alien in disguise and trying to swap the royal family.
Right.
Really?
And due to that, he gets banned from using the police information system.
That's... God damn it.
Also, despite the game being set in England and made by Germans, they use a Brazilian pronunciation for pizza.
How do they say pizza?
Pizza.
Pizza.
Pizza. So, the entire time that Halligan, who has an English accent, is talking about his favorite food, pizza, he keeps on saying pizza, pizza, pizza. And it's very strange. There's no explanation for why the German company setting a game in England uses a Brazilian pronunciation for pizza.
That's funny.
Because it's funny?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Also, not at one point, every time that you go into one dude's office, he's floating above his chair.
Why?
Because.
Reasons.
There's absolutely no justification other than it is definitely not a mistake. It was intentional.
So essentially, he's some sort of demigod or some sort... I don't know.
No one knows. But it's an absolute meme from that game. And I just looked at the time, and Tier's going to need to...
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit.
Yep.
Holy crap. That was fast.
We got carried away in conversations.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
So, parting words?
If you're passionate about Sanguine devour him, don't let Sanguine devour you.
If I hunger, you have no choice in the matter. I shall feast upon you like fucking Halligan did the random gardener.
And I hope everybody who needs a reasonable amount of rain gets a reasonable amount of rain. Good luck.
Because we're talking about Mystery of the Druids, it is not acceptable to knowingly poison a hobo to steal his money. And with that, have a good night, all. The zoo is closed.
Night.
Good night.
And now I wake up my mouse again because I went to sleep, and then I click this, but it takes a second, so suck it!